So slam is just a little bit wide for this road, and it angles, as you'll see, pretty hard to the right, which on the adventure bike, dirt bike, not a big deal. But when you're carrying, I don't know, a few 100 pounds of steel and stuff, look at the back of Black Army Dude's LR3. Yeah, we're driving into location.
So let's do it.
Show me how it's done, dude.
So we were talking earlier about how reliable it's been, and I've had to fix the typical stuff, you know, a switch here, but at 150,000 miles, 10 years old, it's been good for my family. We vacation in this thing. We took it to Moab. It just goes.
It's like mountain goat, man. See, I wouldn't take slam through here, the Titan. It's just too freaking wide. This thing's got a narrower profile that makes it fit, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what she said. What? You don't care if you get your paint scratched a little bit?
No, this is becoming the family vacation utility vehicle thing. Me and the wife are getting new cars in January, so.
Dude, if you come out and do this stuff in your truck, your SUV, it's gonna get beat. It's just normal wear and tear, dude.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so T and Piers know where we're at, right? Oh. That's some of them scratches I was talking about, by the way. They'll buff out, dude.
I don't know, maybe my wife.
They'll buff out.
Maybe my wife won't be too happy, but whatever.
Hey, you still doing Army, right?
Oh yeah. Just re-enlisted last week.
Is your LT still watching?
Oh yeah.
Did he ever get promoted, or is he still on LT?
He's still LT Davis.
LT Davis. Yep. Say hey for us.
Hey, LT Vape. We call him Vapor.
Vapor.
He's one of those vapor smokers.
Oh, is he? Yeah. So he's always got one.
Yeah. But he's cool.
Vapor.
LT Vapor.
See, this is nothing right here. For you. I mean, see the... Oh, that's sporty right there, bro. That's an angle.
It is.
That is an angle. We're candid. I don't know if you can tell on camera, about 30 degrees off to the right, and it's a drop off a cliff. Yeah, there's no way. I'm not bringing the Titan back here. No way. It's just too wide. I kind of told you you'd be doing some Jeeping today, right?
You said Jeeping.
So it's going to be kind of a Jeep ride there. Now, of course, you got look at that. That's one of them washes. Make sure I don't pop your gear shifter out. You'll have guys, you know, that are crawlers. Ah, it's nothing, and they're right. I mean, what those guys do are insane.
Yeah, you got to get a Jeep. Spend another 20 grand lifting it, tires, rims, bars, lights, winches.
Diff work, yep. Winch. Just a little bit there. Well, you can see some of the remains of the old mine down there. See it? It's pretty cool. Okay, now, dude, this is where we can set a steel up. This is where I was thinking. This is more, yeah. See, because that's the range, right?
Yeah.
So we set up here. The question is, we got to be able to stabilize that base. But that's a nice shot. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
So
we're just gonna be right there.
Yeah, we're just right there. So that's what, a 150, 200 yard shot.
Yeah.
So let's, if you crawl it forward, I'll pull the stuff out and I'll throw an LR3 or an IPSC right there. So you can see that old mining structure down there. See, when we pulled over, that's what I was thinking of. Is this place right here. Remember when I stopped, I was like, dude, that's way long shot. I don't want an 800 yard shot today from an AR. Not today. So here's our day today, dudes. Double owls. Look at my head wear today. You like it? What's up? Keeps my bald spot from getting balder and more sunburned. Look how cool this is. This is just cool. Okay, so we're gonna set up. We got several TMP things on the docket today. Super short video. Glad to see Bad out again.
It's been a while.
Good to have him out. Yeah, life's good with you?
Life's good. Just running my business, raising my family, trying to raise a strong daughter, good son. You know, love my wife. You know.
Right on, dude.
Things you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to love my country right now, but
What's up?
don't want to get too political.
It's okay. You can get political here.
Oh yeah, just
You don't like what you're seeing. Is
I don't
what you're
like
saying.
what I'm seeing. You know, it's what's the future going to be for our children? you
Yeah.
know? If the leadership we have continues in the same direction, you know, and so it's tough. I'm not allowed to watch the news in front of my kids.
Because you get pissed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The whole thing in Chattanooga, you know, and that just.
What I couldn't believe is I listened to that story last night, and they go, "Yeah, we're still trying to find out what the motive was." I like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah. Is it a criminal act or a terrorist attack? And you know, and
Why are they so hesitant to label it for what it is, a terrorist attack?
Where's the flags at half-mast? Where's the 3 delegates from our government sitting at the, giving speeches, Where's all that, And it's tough because, I don't know, how am I supposed to feel out of it, because I'm a military guy. I don't know, I wouldn't say I'm a man of color, but...
You're a man of color. You qualify. What's up?
I qualify, and then, it's like, I just see things like, the church shootings, and the president's there, and there's, we're protesting, we're rioting, 5 Marines get killed. Where's the protests? Where's the riots?
Good point. Nothing. Crickets.
So
Nothing.
stuff like that just really, what's really going on?
Yeah.
Behind the scenes. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
I'm not either.
But you just got to wonder sometimes what's the agenda versus the conspiracy. So
You'll have a lot of guys see this video will totally agree with you, dude.
So,
and then I see that, I've been preaching in TMP forever to have them let soldiers like you on post, on base, carry guns. I think they're starting finally to entertain that option.
I watched...
Would that have stopped a shooting? Probably not. When someone drives by your house, what are you going to do? You can't defend against it. But still, knowing there's a lot of guns around, it may dissuade these clowns from doing it again. Everybody's armed. A polite society is an armed society.
It's not a soft target anymore.
Right.
So yeah, when someone's like, hey, I'm going to run up, jump out, start spraying, well, there's a potential for bullets to come back now. And so people change their tactics. It was just...
I watched the news last night, and there's I think a black retired Master Chief that was there in front of the recruiting center, and I loved what he said. He goes, we need to start arming our guys. And the reporter, and good on him, they covered it. They said, well, do you think it would have made a difference? He's like, well, he did stop in the parking lot, if the facts what he said are right. And I would have low crawled and flanked him, is what the guy said.
There we go.
He's like, I'm trained to do it. I've been trained to do it my whole life. And now you don't give us the tools to solve the problem. This is where we're at, and this is what we continue to get, a la Fort Hood. Fort Hood. Dude, I posted a ranting video after Fort Hood. I talked about these issues.
Yeah, workplace violence, not a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
And so that's just, I never leave the house unarmed anymore, because you never know. I mean, I got military plates, and so I'm even considering changing them because I don't want to draw that attention anymore in case I become a target with my family. So everywhere I go, I carry, especially at the movie theater.
I know. You're susceptible there.
Yeah, and so
it's starting to trickle in the U.S., isn't it? Islamic violence.
Well, it's just, they come in, they nothing against them. I've met some Muslims who are peace-loving people, but, I ever heard that saying that, all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslim kind of thing,
I read a comment below one of the, because I do Drudge, and I'll bop, I'll bop into the articles there and read. One guy said, it looks like the religion of peace struck again.
Yeah.
That's what he said after the shooting here at the recruiting center.
So,
but like you say, there's some great people.
Yeah. You have good and bad in every society.
But what I would like to see is, the middle of the roaders stand up and fight against the extremists, and they're silent. They've never said a word that I've ever seen.
Yeah. They're letting them hijack their religion.
Yeah, and define their religion.
Yeah.
And they can't do that. They need to speak up and say, hey, this does not represent what we believe. They're extreme. And there's extremists in every religion.
Well, it's not even, it's just that the middle of the road is standing out, but it's also our own people in our own society, you know, trying to be too politically correct and not offend anybody.
Exactly.
You know, there's a story, is it Oregon? It's Oregon or Washington, some city, they're going to let them implement Sharia banking laws. And it's like,
Yeah.
why? You know?
Yeah.
You're in the U.S., you're U.S. citizens, you should play by the same rules that we all play by.
We are America.
Yeah.
You are in an American culture. I'm all for people maintaining their language, their customs, but adapt to the country you move in. That's cool. That's what we did.
Yeah. I mean, that's what my ancestors did. You know, my mom's side, they all immigrated from Sweden and Ireland and Scotland during the gold rush, learned English at Ellis Island, and then immigrated out to California during the gold rush. That's how it's supposed to be done. You know, you don't just get to show up and, you know, here's your food stamps, your Medicaid, you know, and
your voter registration card.
Registration, and that's another thing. It's like, oh, you have to have an ID to cash a check, but you don't have to have an ID to vote.
Yeah.
You know, where's this country going? There's on and on. A 15-year-old in Oregon was allowed to have a sex change without parental consent, and the state paid for it. I have to sign a parental consent for my son to go to the museum with a second grade class. But in Oregon, he can get a sex change at 15 now without my consent. That is crazy. Should they be allowed to?
We're touching on everything.
Yeah,
here.
we are. I've been bottled up. I haven't talked to you in so long. Yeah,
Vent, dude,
so,
go.
Yeah,
You'll find a sympathetic audience. There'll be some flyby haters,
Yeah,
but whatever.
whatever.
It's the freaking internet. Who cares what they think?
And so it's just things like that. So what kind of, you know, going back, you know, the whole thing about raising my children, it's like, you know, man, I'm afraid of what 20 years from now brings, you know, when, you know, our kids don't check up on the facts, they don't educate themselves, you know, they get the news from Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you know, and
If they get the news at all.
if they get the news at all.
Do they even care about the news, really? I mean, do you know of any millennials that actually follow the news? Do they care?
No.
I mean, just watch those man in the street, you know, sessions they do. Like Jay Leno used to do them.
Yeah.
A lot of the shows do them. They have it on Fox News, and they ask them very simple questions.
Where's the Pacific Ocean?
They have no clue.
And they're like, you know.
They have no clue. They ask who the president, the vice president is.
No.
A lot of them don't know. They ask who did we fight in the Civil War.
Yeah.
They said Germany and Italy.
Crazy.
That's not made up. And these
No,
are the
that's
people
real.
that are doing the voting and putting the people
These are
in.
the
That's how
voters.
Obama got elected,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that quote today. It made me laugh. I don't always speak to Obama voters, but when I do, I ask for fries. Something like that. It just made me laugh.
Now, see, what do you say to someone who shows up in the vid and they go, hey, I love Obama. He's awesome. You guys need to lighten up. He's done so much for this country. We're a lot better off than we were with whoever.
Are we? I don't know.
Well,
I say why. Tell me why. Everybody who I've ever heard tell me, like I'm out in the community. My business, I meet with people every day.
yeah, real people.
Real
like,
people.
What economic stratus are you talking about?
Low income.
So you work with low income
I work
folks
with low
all the
income
time.
every day,
Uh-huh.
and I get to hear the different, you know, and literally one lady was like, I love Obama because he's sexy. I voted for him. And I'm just
That's what I was
kinda
talking about.
I'm like, oh, and that's scary to me. It's like, that's why you're voting. That's when you go into the booth and you're like, hey, he's sexy, you know?
Right.
Versus what are the issues? You know, how does he feel about, you know, subsidies for this, or
Taxation, healthcare, gun control,
and
government registration of all sorts and description. He's all for that.
he's all for it. You know, bigger government. You know,
And he's out to preserve his power structure. I mean, the reason he doesn't want people to show an ID is because he knows he has a higher preponderance of votes doing that. As soon as he starts saying, hey, you need an ID card of some sort, he's lost votes.
yeah, he's lost votes.
So
Hence why you need to legalize 30 million plus, you know, illegal immigrants.
Right.
Because as soon as they get that through, they have 30 million new voters.
Right.
You know, there goes the Republican Party. And I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, but it's good when there's competition. You know, it's
Well, guys have seen. I mean, I'm all for people come to this country and making contributions. I really don't care what color someone's skin is. I couldn't care less. Welcome, but contribute.
Yep.
Do something.
In.
Don't get on the welfare rolls. I mean, as a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, and
don't have your anger baby. You know.
And don't act like you're entitled.
Yep.
And don't bring hate and rage into the country saying, "Hey, since this happened, you know, you guys owe me something." I'm not for that at all.
No.
Are you?
No. You show up, pitch in, do your fair share of the work, whatever that is. Live your life, raise your family, and just contribute.
And welcome.
So we're gonna get set up? Or?
I don't know. Do you feel better after getting that off?
I do.
It's therapeutic in a way, isn't it?
You know, I have a good friend who every night, all the issues and, you know, the whole bug out. We talk about it all. You know, guns, bugging out, bugging in, you know, water supply, you know, history, issues, politics, and it's just, it is therapeutic to kind of get it out there.
It is. It's good to talk about it. And you're talking about here, it's like, hey, I wonder how many, this is off camera, we're having this discussion. It's like, I wonder how many people are planning to come and bug out to this location. Yeah. And what'd I say?
Said, not on my list to come here. Yeah, that's the
probably
first.
if more than a few have it on their list. But dude, you got no water up here. Not handy.
Well, you start hunting, you know, you're gonna hunt all the game out.
No game up here.
If I'm up here, I hear you shoot your deer, I'm gonna find you and shoot you while you're cleaning your deer. Now I got food.
Well, that's worst case.
That's worst case, but yeah.
Hopefully people aren't shooting each other. They're trying to help out and rebuild rule of law. Yeah. That's what I advocate, but you could have that. You could.
And I think you would in small pockets.
You could have people become very territorial. Mm-hmm. So they go, you know what, this is my canyon, get out. And they have armed patrol right where we just drove down. Mm-hmm. And they go, get out or else.
Imagine if we started taking fire here, what would we even do?
This is a bad way here.
We ain't backing up.
And you can't, where do you go? I mean, if they have the high ground on you, you're dead. And they would have the high ground on you. See, that's another thing about why this is a bad bug out location, is because you're in a slot canyon. Where do you egress to? Over that hill? Roger that. In 5 hours. And man portable system, this is what I talk about to my guys all the time, carrying stuff. You have to bug out over that hill.
Carrying 30, 40 pounds of gear and a rifle.
At least. Think about it. This is not a good location. And likewise, you're trapped. I mean, if someone wants to decide to assault you, if they do it smart, you're done. Because I could just put a freaking guy over here at 800 meters with a precision rifle. As soon as he shows ahead, he's done. 6.5 Creedmoor would be perfect for that. It's quiet, low dust signature. Look at us talking.
Yeah. You know, it's bad when every time you go somewhere, you're like, I can snipe from here. 200 meters.
Yeah, we're just talking about target shooting is all. Yeah. All right, let's set up. Okay. That's BAD, Nut Fancy, July. Time to get to work.